All right, to start, um, your arm looks very good in the abbreviated position, like when you start with your arm preset up, because you want to be at about 90 degrees. Like, I don't know how to explain exactly what I'm talking about, but you need to be at 90 degrees, like you're usually at basically 0 degrees. So it looks very good, and you have a very clean arm action when you're doing that. One thing I do recommend, though, is when you get done with your 10 toes from the abbreviated position, just do a few throws from like a normal 10 toes. And then from this drill, just 1 second, just to make sure I'm on the right thing. It looks like this is the one where you start with your foot in, and that looks good. You're not getting very far in with your leg, but that could be because of limited internal rotation in your hips. And I have the same problem. It's very hard for me to get my back leg turned all the way in a set position. So one thing I would do is work on your internal rotation in your hips. That is mainly like 90/90s, or there's not really a lot you can do for that. Just you can find just random mobility exercises on like YouTube, not even baseball specific, but like stuff to target stuff that you need for baseball. And then this is the one where you start with your foot back, or back foot parallel, and then you get into your back leg. You are not getting very deep into your back leg. It's almost like you're just standing, which you're not really a guy that gets super deep into your back leg, and that's okay, but you still want to be like fairly deep into your back leg. I'm gonna record something and show you at the end. And then, so for the lasso drills, you want to get like deep into your back leg and then fire. So for the first one, what I do, I start with my front foot forward, just like you're standing straight. And then I like to try and turn back. My back leg does kind of rotate back in a way I don't want it to, but then it's all upper half from there. And then the second one that I do, this is the one that I was saying that you don't get into your back leg. I start, keep your front foot straight, obviously, get into your back leg, and I like to almost do a squat at first and then get back into the back leg, and then that's when you throw. And then for these, look decent. You're still kind of hiking your elbow up when you come back. Your arm action is the one thing I do not recommend forcing it. You kind of want to let that drop and then get all the way back up. I'll explain more when I record some stuff. Oh yeah. So for your drills where you're starting up here and letting your arm go up, you're starting good. It's good all the way up until here, because once you get to here, you're going like this. You want it to be, hold on. You want to be able to flip up on time. So you go. And then once you get to landing, your arm should be up. So right now for you, you're going like this. It's like you're getting into a position right here, which it looks like a very good position, and you can still get a lot out of your arm when it's in that position. But when you're right here, your body goes and then your arm is still all the way back here. So it's, legs go, torso goes, shoulder goes, but your arm is still right here, and it's gonna have to either push through, or it's going to just like, it puts a lot of strain on your elbow and forearm when you do it like that. So that's my one thing with that. All right, these looked pretty good. It looks like this is when you start getting into actual long toss and keeping it on an arc, which you could do that sooner, but it's not a huge deal. I do have something to say about your one knee throws. So you're kind of just throwing it, which isn't a huge deal. It's mainly a upper half drill. But what I would say is straighten your front foot a little bit more, and use it like it's your block leg. Like it should extend into like release. Like it's just a normal throw except you're on one knee. Other than that, it looks really good. All right, and this is what you should be doing for your one knee drills. You start like this. You can get your foot out as far as you want. If your hamstrings aren't as flexible, you won't be able to get it out super far. This is about as far as I can get so start like just a normal throw, go in, and like feel your hips pull this leg back like that. So you should be using this leg as a block. Your crow hops do look good. One thing I could say is you could take a step into them if you'd like. You don't have to. It'll give you a little bit more momentum, and once you get to the velocity phase, you're going to be using a lot of momentum, and that will help you get used to using momentum in your throw. So you should be doing your crow hops at the end of your throwing. That's basically like your crow hops are your max effort as far as you can type throws. I mean, right now you're still at 65%. Pretty sure it's supposed to be 60, but 65, it's not a big deal. You're throwing it as far as you can because you have momentum. So your drill progression should be from as simple as possible to your delivery. So that starts with an abbreviated 10 toes. That's almost barely, that's only your arm, lower or upper half, sorry. And then it goes into the lasso, which brings in your torso into it. And then it's whatever drill comes after that incorporates your lower half and everything like that until you get to your delivery. A crow hop is your delivery, but with extra momentum. So that should be the last thing that you do. And for taking a step into the crow hops, I'm sure you probably know how to do this, but it's just, and then go. You're starting right here, which isn't bad. You're going to end up doing those if you have long toss once you start to get into like either the later phases of the velocity phase, or when you get into what's it called, the mound phases. You're gonna I don't have it on the program, so I'll fix that soon. But so so your Friday bullpen, 1 week you'll have a bullpen, 1 week you'll have a long toss or some form of pull downs. And since you're in a mound phase, you don't want to just do a running pull down. It doesn't transfer very well to the mound. You need to be able to build it up. So we like to do crow hops. And you need to, and once you get into that, it'll be just a normal crow hop. But for now, since you're in an on-ramp, it's not a huge deal. But once you get later into the on-ramp, I do recommend taking a step into them. just to give you a little bit more momentum. Just jump and then go. And then that's all. And then the rest of the drills looked really good. These ones, you're taking a step back, not just like turning and throwing. So you should be taking a step back and then getting into that back leg from that step and then throwing. I'll demonstrate some. And then for your drop steps, it's kind of hard to do. I don't have enough space. So you're right here. You take a step back with this, turn, and throw. So it should look like this. Like that. So you take your step back with your left foot first, and then go. And then what else did you have? All right. Since you didn't record it, I'm just going to talk about it because I don't exactly know what you're doing for arm care. So I'm just recorded my training today. I had no throwing and just like a rest day. So I started off by just stretching out my lats, triceps, back, going into this. I only do these during a warm-up because it just helps open up the chest and get it ready to go. And then for these, go slow on the way back. And then I usually try and go faster on the way, or like what's it called? Eccentric. I don't remember. But anyway, so before I throw, I like to do bands and go like faster because it gets the blood flowing. Some of the biggest things for before you throw, warm up the chest, shoulders, biceps, triceps, forearms, back, everything. So, and the rotator cuffs, obviously. And then after you throw, the biggest things I can say for you, after you throw, you want to go slow because you need to get your post-throwing arm care in. That's what actually strengthens your rotator cuffs, your scapula, your forearms, everything else like that. And that's what prevents injuries. And then, so for the rotator cuff, you need to go internal and external. This is external. What I was just doing before that was internal. All right, and then hold on, I'll just take 1 second. So this is also working external. And then that's working your rear delts. So for the scapula area, I like to do YTLAs. The Y, this is a Y. You're just going straight up with your arms. This really works your scapula. And it's I think it's very important for you to work because they're usually underworked. I don't know what you're doing for your rehab training, so just make sure you're working each of the big or main 4 muscles, which is your scapula, your rotator cuffs, your forearms, and then like your biceps and triceps. And then this is working your back. This is okay, I'll go through the letters really quick. So this is Y, T, no, L. I just did them in a different order. This is A, and then the rear delt flies right here. That's a T. So you don't have to do them in order. I just recommend getting them in. And then there's biceps, triceps. This is also biceps, but I have a neutral grip and I took my hand out of the sleeve. So it worked the forearms. It's basically hammer curl. You're working your brachialis and then the top of your forearm, and those are areas that are often in pain from people throwing. I think it's just important to prepare it before. Okay, for this, I wrapped the band around my arm so it kind of pulls my hand inward. And then it's just working your internal rotation on your shoulder. But it's also pulling your hand back. So when you go back down, you're pronating just like you would through a throw. You'll be able to see it a lot better when I do my left arm. I do also think it's important to do both sides. So you see how it goes back into a supinated position, and then when I go forward, it goes into a pronated position. I think it's important just to be able to work both of them at the same time, because that's how you do it in the throw. And then this is my forearm work. I rotate inward and then outward. I do 20 reps each side, and then I do my left arm. All right, and then I do these. This helps work the external rotation in your shoulder. It also helps it work under pressure in like unexpected positions. And I think that's very important. And then the next thing I think is very important for you, especially because you feel your pain in your front delt. This will help prepare your front delt, and it helps builds up a lot of strength, and it's honestly kind of hard. I don't know what weights the Marv balls have, but this is a 1 pound ball, and I recommend using that weight. And then do it to the side. So I do usually 50 reps for the external rotation focused, and then 30 reps for the front, and then 30 reps for the side. And then I do these. I know you don't have a trampoline, but yeah, so I'll just skip over that. And then the other thing I do on my recovery days, or no throwing recovery days, is I do my rotational stuff. You don't have to do this, but I mean, we don't have a ton of rotational stuff. While pitching is a rotational thing, you don't use very much strength during that. So it's not like something we have a huge focus on, especially because you don't use your muscles to rotate in this. You use your body just naturally kind of does it. And then, so I do 5 from a delivery. Sorry, I was talking to someone. So I do 5 from that. And then I do usually 3 to 5. It just kind of depends on how much time I have from a knee, and then like your batting. And then I also, sorry, I was talking to that girl again. She spent 2 years in Israel, or 3 years in Israel. And then I also think it's important to do the left side. Obviously, I'm not as good as that at that. It's very hard to get coordinated when you're not used to it. So yeah, that's what I recommend doing for your oh shoot, why did I get out of that? That's what I recommend doing for your post-throwing routine. You don't need to do med balls after you throw, but I do recommend getting them in like on your no throwing days.